North Korea conducted mission tests, raising tensions in the region, while South Korea responded by announcing plans for a nuclear-powered submarine. And a Singaporean minister visited both countries to discuss security and cooperation. These events unfolded with escalating military activity, as global observers expressed concern over the implications for peace and stability in the region. As the situation evolved, the international community watched closely, urging both nations to seek diplomatic solutions rather than escalate military confrontations. Public sentiment surged as South Korean citizens rallied for peace, while simultaneously expressing concern over the need for national security amid North Korea's provocative actions. In response to these developments, the United Nations convened emergency sessions to address the pressing need for diplomatic engagement and potential sanctions against North Korea. These actions by North Korea were met with stern warnings from global leaders, emphasizing the fragility of peace in the region and the consequences of further provocations. Media coverage intensified as both nations communicated their stances to the world, underscoring the necessity for vigilance and preparedness against potential conflicts. Amidst this backdrop, the ideological divide between the two Koreas became increasingly pronounced, highlighting the complex interplay of nationalism and security in the region. As both nations showcased their military capabilities, the escalating rhetoric raised alarms worldwide about the potential for miscalculation and conflict in an already volatile region. In light of these developments, international diplomacy was put to the test as world leaders sought to find a path towards de-escalation while balancing national interests and security concerns. The atmosphere in both nations remained charged as military readiness became a priority, leading to increased tensions that captured global attention and raised fears of potential conflict. With both countries ramping up their military operations, the risks of a misstep grew substantially, pushing regional stability to the brink and drawing scrutiny from global powers. As tensions flared, the ideological struggle continued to permeate everyday life, with both sides preparing for potential escalations while hoping for a peaceful resolution to their long-standing conflict. These high-stakes military exercises drew sharp reactions from both sides, further entrenching positions as each nation grappled with the implications of their actions in an already fraught atmosphere. In an environment charged with hostility, the ever-present threat of military confrontation loomed large, prompting urgent calls from the international community for dialogue to avert disaster. As public anxiety grew on both sides of the border, leaders faced immense pressure to either escalate military posturing or find avenues for negotiation to ease the mounting crisis. With political discourse heating up, both governments utilized rhetoric to mobilize public sentiment, underscoring the delicate balance between showing strength and pursuing peace. As preparations intensified, each nation sought to assert its dominance, risking further escalation if diplomatic efforts failed to take precedence amid the growing tensions. The geopolitical landscape became increasingly complex as external nations weighed their options, adding layers of strategy and consideration to an already volatile situation. As tensions reached critical levels, both sides braced for potential military engagements, raising fears that the situation could spiral out of control if diplomatic interventions were not prioritized. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as leaders on both sides prepared for any eventuality, while the world watched closely for signs of possible diplomatic breakthroughs or impending conflict. In this climate of uncertainty, both countries remained on high alert, emphasizing the urgent need for sustained dialogue to prevent miscalculations that could lead to catastrophic consequences. As international alliances were put to the test, the stakes escalated further, underscoring the fragility of peace and the necessity for unified global action to address the North Korean challenge. These developments accentuated the arms race rhetoric, with both nations committed to demonstrating their military prowess, while the world increasingly urged restraint and negotiations for peace. As each side paraded their military capabilities, the calls for diplomacy grew louder, highlighting the urgent necessity to bridge the divide between might and dialogue in search of long-term stability. In the face of escalating military demonstrations, the importance of finding common ground became increasingly evident, as both the South and North recognized the potential for catastrophic consequences if tensions continued to rise. With the threat of conflict looming large, both nations grappled with internal pressures to reinforce their military postures while simultaneously weighing the need for peace-oriented discussions.